Summer vacay is over. It's back to school time, kids. Training camp is in session. That's right. Training camp, it starts now. And the teacher-to-student ratio at Habs training camp, off the charts this year. They've invited 72 players to training camp. 72! That's including 9 goaltenders. 9. Couple that with the fact that they've only got 6 preseason games to evaluate their talent, and buckle up because the next 3 weeks are going to be packed with entertainment, excitement, and I think a lot of drama. So today I'll give you my 6 key things to watch for during training camp this season. And hey, if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll have some thoughts on the trade that Kent Hughes made this week as well and what that does to training camp. Number 1, top of my mind is the top line. Who is going to be Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki's third? Are they going to toss Alex Newhook up there, see how that works out? Or are they going to take a guy who's already been on the team, already played with Caulfield and Suzuki, and already has built a bit of chemistry with them? This is one I can't wait to get an answer to. Number 2, speaking of Alex Newhook, how's he going to look? We know what the change in scenery did for Kirby Dach. Did Kent Hughes find himself a gold mine with Alex Newhook, and can that repeat again like it has done and started to do with Kirby Dach? So while the change of scenery might be good for Alex Newhook, there's a big spotlight and a lot of pressure on, okay, we paid a big price for you, let's see what you can do. So it will be fascinating to see how quickly Alex Newhook either comes out as a boom or a bust. Number 3. Well, while we're talking about has he improved, Juraj Slafkovsky. Rough rookie season for him, had a very slow start to his NHL career, then lost a ton of time due to injury. After a summer of training, rehabbing, getting stronger, putting some weight on, does Juraj Slafkovsky show up at camp saying, okay, I am ready to show you why you selected me first overall? Number 4, the deployment of Dach. If you've watched this show for any length of time, if you've listened to my podcast, The Press Zone at thepresszone.fm, you know I want to see Kirby Dach at center and remain at center. Marty St. Louis at the golf tournament said he is not 100% committed either way yet, that he's going to watch during preseason and training camp to see and determine where he'd like Dach to be. It's not necessarily the ideology that I'd like to hear, but I'm hoping that when all is said and done and the dust settles, that we will see Kirby Dach firmly planted in the center position in the line right behind Nick Suzuki. Number 5. What about Lias Andersson? Oh yeah, remember him? That free agent signing right around the opening of free agency? He's a bit of that forgotten forward in the mix this summer. The new guy, what's he going to do? Is he going to come in and make a splash and make decisions for Kent Hughes and Marty St. Louis and Jeff Gordon even more difficult? Or is what he presents going to be a pretty clear-cut answer as to where he should play? NHL, AHL, or what they should do with him. This will be a fascinating player to watch. Finally, number 6. Number 6 for me is a 3-for-1. There are 3 young players that I think are going to be some of the most competitive forwards at camp because they will be desperately clawing and scratching for an NHL position, and that is Owen Beck, Jesse Ylönen, and Emil Heineman. All 3 have really different situations and scenarios surrounding them. The question for Owen Beck, if he doesn't get an NHL roster spot, that then means he has to return to the OHL. Is that the best for his development? I say no, but is there really a spot on the NHL roster for him? Emil Heineman came over from Europe and he lit up the Laval Rocket last season. 7-game scoring streak, absolutely looking on fire in the AHL. He could absolutely contend for a forward spot with the Montreal Canadiens, as could Jesse Ylönen. This is a prospect, a high prospect that has been slowly and steadily progressing forward for the Montreal Canadiens. He is looking exceptionally good at the AHL level. Very strong skater, good hockey IQ, strong defensively. He also is going to compete for a roster spot, and he is waiver eligible. So if they decided to not keep him on the roster and sent him down to Laval, he would have to clear waivers, and I don't know that he would. Now, as if all of that wasn't enough to keep an eye on, Kent Hughes decided to throw a trade into the mix this week and acquired Tanner Pearson from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for Casey DeSmith, which, of course, was an extra goaltender that the Canadiens did not need in the rotation. So Casey DeSmith shipped out. That's great. But you've brought in now Tanner Pearson, a guy who's only played 14 games in the NHL last season because he was out with an extensive amount of hand injuries sustained in a game against the Montreal Canadiens last November. And so Kent Hughes says hand is about at 80%. Tanner Pearson, probably a bottom 6, maybe 4th line player. But what does Tanner Pearson's presence do to upset the apple cart on a training camp roster that is already jam-packed with a complete logjam of prospects and very few roster spots to go around? This kind of throws a wrench in everything, and it's going to be really fascinating to watch to see what happens with Tanner Pearson, this very last minute, the 11th hour acquisition. You know, training camp is just the start. There is a lot to see and take in over the next few weeks. And if you like today's video, if you'd like to hear more of my analysis and opinions as training camp goes on, the preseason starts, and we get into hockey season itself, then I encourage you to just take a second to tap that subscribe button, hit the like button, tap the notification bell, and of course, hit that share button and share this episode on your favorite social media platform. One of the things that we're going to see a lot of over the next couple of weeks is a lot of press conferences, a lot of interviews, a lot of changes in the line combinations as they experiment with different things. And every day is going to be kind of like putting a puzzle together and a trail of clues being dropped by coaches and players, body language, decisions that are made at practices and in preseason games. And last week on the Canadiens Connection podcast, which dropped here on YouTube on Monday, Rick Stevens and Michael Spinella broke down all of the ways to decipher all of the clues that are going to be left by coaches and management and players throughout the preseason to help you better understand the philosophy and strategy that they are taking in determining what this year's Montreal Canadiens roster is going to look like. And if you missed that podcast, well, then you can check that out right here on this video and meet me back here again next week. Thanks for watching.